For Alex and Maria, a remote cabin nestled in the heart of an abandoned village was the stuff of dreams, a sanctuary away from the cacophony of their everyday lives. They yearned for solitude, the embrace of nature, and the sweet serenity that only isolation could offer. However, as they soon discovered, the cabin's picturesque setting belied a chilling secret that would unravel their very sense of reality. The abandoned village lay nestled in a forgotten corner of the world, frozen in time like a ghostly relic. The cabin they had booked through Airbnb was perched at the village's edge, shrouded by the dense forest that threatened to swallow the hamlet whole. It appeared to be the perfect escape, a haven of tranquility amidst the solitude. As Alex and Maria arrived at their destination, the eerie emptiness of the village struck them immediately. Abandoned homes, their windows like vacant eyes, gazed silently upon the interlopers. There was no sign of life, no welcoming committee, only the stillness of a village lost to time. Their host, an enigmatic and reclusive old man, emerged from the shadows to hand them the keys. His eyes held secrets untold, and his voice carried the weight of 1,000 memories. He welcomed them with a cryptic smile, a harbinger of the mysteries that awaited. The first night in the cabin unfolded like a fairy tale, with the warm glow of a crackling fire in the stone hearth and the sweet sound of laughter echoing through the timbered walls. Hours passed in blissful camaraderie, as if the world outside had ceased to exist. But as the clock's hands crept toward midnight, the tranquil atmosphere shifted. From the heart of the dark forest came unsettling noises, footsteps like whispers, deliberate and haunting, growing louder with each passing moment. A hush descended upon the group, and their laughter turned to uneasy tension. Their faces etched with a creeping sense of dread. Sarah's trembling hand reached for her phone, and the Airbnb host's number was dialed, anxiety coursing through her veins. A voice answered on the other end, but it was not the host's reassuring voice they had expected. Instead, it was a guttural growl, low and menacing, a voice that sent shivers down their spines. The footsteps, those sinister heralds of impending doom, continued their relentless advance toward the cabin's entrance. The door swung open with an eerie creak, revealing a figure shrouded in darkness. Their face hidden beneath a hood, the intruder stood there, a sinister grin carving its way across their obscured features. Paralyzed with fear, Sarah and her friends watched helplessly as the uninvited guest moved closer, their movements as deliberate as a predator stalking its prey. The air grew frigid, and a palpable malevolence seemed to choke the room. A malevolence that threatened to consume them all. But Sarah, her instincts ablaze with primal survival, seized a fireplace poker. With a swift, desperate motion, she struck the intruder, causing them to stumble back momentarily. It was the opening they needed, a fleeting chance at escape. Without hesitation, they bolted from the cabin into the inky blackness of the night, leaving behind their possessions and the malevolent presence that had invaded their sanctuary. Fear fueled their flight, and the forest swallowed them whole. The authorities arrived at the cabin, responding to Sarah's frantic call. But the intruder had vanished into the depths of the woods, leaving no trace behind. The Airbnb host, when questioned, professed ignorance of the nightmarish encounter that had transpired under their roof, casting a shadow of doubt over their involvement. Sarah and her friends were left with shaken souls and unending questions. What had they encountered that fateful night? Who was the uninvited guest that had invaded their refuge? The answers remained elusive, a haunting enigma etched forever in their memories. A story they would tell with a shudder for years to come. The cabin in the abandoned village had become a chilling enigma, a place where the line between reality and the supernatural blurred into an unsettling nightmare. Mark, an aficionado of all things historical and enigmatic, had always harbored a fascination for bygone eras. So, when he stumbled upon an enticing Airbnb listing that promised an unforgettable experience in a centuries-old maritime mansion, he couldn't resist the allure. The photographs depicted grandeur and elegance, a relic of a time when the sea was both friend and foe to those who dwelled by its tempestuous embrace. Yet, little did Mark know that beneath the facade of opulence lay a haunting enigma that would test his very sanity. The mansion stood resplendent against the backdrop of the turbulent sea, an architectural gem forged by time and history. As Mark crossed the threshold, he was greeted by the host, a seemingly genteel, elderly lady whose ageless eyes held the wisdom of centuries. She welcomed him with open arms, but her smile hinted at secrets that she was not yet ready to reveal. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, foreboding shadows across the mansion's opulent halls, the atmosphere began to shift. Mark's stay transformed into a harrowing ordeal, as the very walls of the mansion seemed to whisper ancient secrets. Ghostly voices echoed in empty chambers, and the sound of phantom footsteps resonated through echoing corridors. Doors that should have remained steadfastly ajar slammed shut with inexplicable force, their echoes chilling Mark to the bone. Eerie apparitions materialized in his photographs, faces of long-lost souls whose ethereal eyes held the weight of forgotten tragedies. Haunted by these spectral manifestations, Mark delved into the history of the mansion, unearthing a chilling tale of maritime disaster that had played out centuries ago. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, a spectral echo of the shipwreck that had claimed the lives of countless sailors just off the jagged coast. The souls of those unfortunate seafarers were said to wander the mansion's hallowed halls, eternally seeking retribution for their untimely demise. Mark's nights became a nightmarish descent into the abyss as the vengeful spirits grew bolder and more malevolent. Objects moved of their own accord, and chilling whispers filled the air. Mark's very sanity teetered on the precipice as he confronted the terrifying reality of the mansion's haunting. Determined to unlock the truth, Mark embarked on a perilous quest to communicate with the restless spirits. He delved into the mansion's archives, deciphering cryptic messages and unraveling the mysteries of the past. In the dead of night, he conducted seances and rituals, seeking to appease the tormented souls and lift the curse that bound them. But as he ventured deeper into the abyss of the mansion's history, Mark discovered a horrifying revelation. The elderly host, the guardian of this spectral realm, was herself one of the ghosts, forever tethered to the mansion by a curse for her role in the shipwreck. As Mark confronted her with his findings, her demeanor transformed from benevolent host to a harbinger of doom. She revealed her tragic tale, a tale of betrayal and lost love which had bound her to the mansion for all eternity. Her haunting presence, once an enigmatic allure, now bore the weight of an ancient curse that had ensnared Mark in its malevolent grasp. Terrified, and with his sanity hanging by a thread, Mark made a harrowing decision to escape the mansion's clutches. He fled the cursed mansion, leaving behind his belongings and the dark secrets that lingered within. The Airbnb listing mysteriously vanished from the website, as if the mansion itself sought to erase the memory of its haunting. Mark emerged from the experience forever changed, haunted by the specters of the past and the chilling knowledge that some mysteries are best left buried. The maritime mansion by the sea had tested the boundaries of reality and the supernatural, leaving Mark with a tale of terror that he could never forget. The towering trees of the ancient forest stood sentinel around the isolated cabin, casting eerie shadows in the fading twilight. Sarah and her group of adventurous friends had embarked on a weekend getaway, leaving the clamor of the city far behind. Nestled amidst the wilderness, their chosen abode was an Airbnb cabin that appeared to be the epitome of rustic charm. Upon their arrival, the cabin seemed idyllic. Its wooden facade exuded warmth, and the scent of pine enveloped the air. As they settled in, excitement bubbled within them. This was the perfect escape. Or so they thought. The first night unfurled like a storybook, with a roaring fire crackling in the stone hearth, and laughter resonating through the cozy living room. Hours passed in blissful camaraderie until the clock struck midnight, and the atmosphere took a sinister turn. From the depths of the forest outside came unsettling noises. Footsteps, deliberate and unnerving, growing louder with each passing moment. A hush descended upon the group as their mirth turned to dread, the merriment replaced by an uneasy tension. With trembling hands, Sarah reached for her phone. The Airbnb host's number dialed, and her heart pounding with anxiety. A voice answered on the other end, but it was not the host's reassuring voice they expected. Instead, it was a guttural growl, low and menacing. Panic spread through the room like wildfire, their faces drained of color. The footsteps, the sinister heralds of impending doom, continued their relentless advance toward the cabin's entrance. The door swung open with an eerie creak, revealing a figure shrouded in darkness. Their face concealed beneath a hood, the intruder stood there, a sinister grin carving its way across their obscured features. Paralyzed with fear, Sarah and her friends watched helplessly as the uninvited guest moved closer. Their movements as deliberate as a predator stalking its prey. The air grew frigid as a palpable malevolence permeated the room, choking them. As the intruder closed the distance, Sarah's instincts surged, and she seized a fireplace poker. With a swift, desperate motion, she struck the intruder, causing them to stumble back momentarily. It was the opening they needed. Without hesitation, they bolted from the cabin into the inky blackness of the night, leaving behind their possessions and the malevolent presence that had invaded their sanctuary. Fear fueled their flight, and the forest swallowed them whole. The authorities arrived at the cabin, responding to Sarah's frantic call. But the intruder had vanished, leaving no trace behind. The Airbnb host, when questioned, professed ignorance of the nightmarish encounter that had transpired under their roof, casting a shadow of doubt over their involvement. Sarah and her friends were left with shaken souls and unending questions. What had they encountered that fateful night? Who was the uninvited guest that had invaded their refuge? The answers remained elusive, a haunting enigma etched forever in their memories, a story they would tell with a shudder for years to come. Thank you for watching. If you have your own eerie stories or suggestions for future videos, let us know by sending us a mail through wisewalk35@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video as captivating as I did. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. And leave your comments in the comment section. And let's keep the eerie conversations going. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Goodbye for now.